The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily represent those of this station or its management.
This is the Stockwell Roueche Show, giving you real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Josh Roueche.
What is a timeshare? What is a co-op? And how do you buy and sell them properly? You're listening to the Stockwell Roueche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
And Josh Roueche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Josh, you sound wonderful today.
I feel wonderful.
You are fully recovered?
No, it's 2 weeks now, and I don't think we're gonna go to Vegas again.
Oh, that's right. That's still from Vegas. Well, welcome. You're back. We missed you last week. We love having you, even though your voice is a little hoarse.
I do apologize. If you guys have any remedies, the audience, you have any remedies to help me get rid of this thing, I would appreciate it. You can reach me at the talktwincitiesrealestate.com. That'd be great. Send me over something. That'd be awesome.
Or call him if you want to hear him talk on his cell phone.
No, it's not. No.
So topic today, we're in-house today. We have Lisa Swanson with Envoy Mortgage, mortgage expert, who we're going to be sharing information with on co-ops, mainly. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
And we have Casey Thrash, the infamous Casey Thrash is here today. Welcome, Casey.
Thank you for having me.
And we actually have a timeshare expert who will be reaching out. We will be reaching out to her in Orlando, Florida.
Nice.
And she is only sells timeshares and has for 20 years. Judy Kozlowski, and she's with RE/MAX Property Southwest in Orlando, Florida, which is the timeshare capital of the world. We're excited, very excited to have her. She's
Love Orlando.
A wealth of information, just boatloads of knowledge. So to start off real quick, I want to give a quote in regards to our topic today. A lot of people, a lot of our loyal listeners, a lot of you out there either have a timeshare, you know someone who has a timeshare, maybe it's your parents, grandparents, maybe it's your children or nephews or nieces or cousins or coworkers, and you've heard good stories and bad stories. We want to make sure we're educating you on how to do it properly if you're going to go and buy one, because they're good for you if you want them and if you use them. They're bad for you if you get sold, if you will, into buying one when you don't need one or shouldn't have one or you're not ready for one. So here's a quote. The secret to not getting scammed and successfully getting a timeshare is all in the educational process prior to purchasing. That eliminates about 90% of the problems with timesharing. So, and that you could say that about almost anything you buy, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much the general statement, but specific to timeshares is you go on an invite to a timeshare company, and you're invited in, and they're very pleasant and nice and very hospitable. Anything you want. You sit through their presentation, and they are very good.
And it's free stuff. You get
free stuff.
Right.
And you don't have time, timeshare, there's a little pun there, but you don't have time to research what you are about to buy before you make that impulsive decision to buy. So all we're saying is if you're out there and you're thinking of selling your timeshare, if you're thinking of buying a timeshare, then make sure that you do research before you buy. So before you go to a seminar, before you go and get that free dinner and those free tickets and all that stuff, do a little research on the company. Look up, okay, what do they run? What do they cost? How do we get them? And those things like that. So we're not pro-timeshare. We're not anti-timeshare because they are good for some people and they're not for others. So we're pretty neutral on the timeshare issue. We just don't want people to get scammed, and we're going to talk about that later when Judy comes on the show. So timeshares and co-ops, what are they? How to buy and how to sell them properly. We'll talk about co-ops as well. So first off, though, real quick, Josh, we have to hear your voice again. We're excited, and I'm getting anxious to hear your voice again.
This is awesome.
Market update. What is going on in the local Twin Cities real estate residential market?
It is amazing. I mean, I'm looking at some of these statistics right now, and we're looking at from where we were at last year at this time last year, we're seeing new listings up 31.7%.
Wow.
That's crazy. And then we're seeing the change in pending sales too, up 34.1%. And we're even seeing our inventory up 0.3%, which means we're starting to get some listings out there. Buyers are out there taking advantage of the low interest rates.
Well, that tells me, based on if you have 31.7% increase in homes coming on the market compared to this week last year, but yet you have 34%, a larger percentage of pending.
Yeah.
So that means they're getting eaten up faster. So you only have a small increase in the actual inventory. So there still needs to be more properties.
We need more because their buyers are out there doing it, and their interest rates are low. Down payments are low. There are low programs out there for lower down payment assistance or low down payment programs, and they're taking advantage of the low interest rates.
And I think we're preaching to the choir because if any of you know realtors, we're not shy about stating what's going on in the market. When you look at our Facebook pages and you look at our daily lives, people are getting the message, and if they're wanting to sell and they've had haven't had the opportunity for the past number of years, they're taking advantage and they're doing it now. Every week we're going on multiple listing appointments, and it's just normal right now, especially with the frenzy of what's
and I think
happening.
a lot of it is if you really are planning on possibly even selling it this summer, you got to talk to somebody now so you have everything set in stone, because right now there's such an influx right now with a bunch of buyers out there. And I know you do too, Jason, with your team. We've got a ton of buyers out there looking for our homes right now, and we just don't have a lot of inventory.
It's almost scary for me a little bit because a lot of us realtors have been selling for over 10 years, seen the downturn that happened before. Not to say that's going to happen. I'm not a doomsdayer necessarily personality or a theorist, but it's really good. It's really good, and it's hard to see that sustaining long term, just like anything when it's really, really good in any market. But however, in the short term, meaning 3, 4, 5, 6 months, it should be a really.
And then we got to realize we do live in Minnesota, and we just came out of the winter months. So this is great for our marketplace because these are the months that we need to take advantage of. I mean, we've got people out there buying right now, and we've got to get some more listings out there. We've got to get some of those sellers out there to list those properties because we do have buyers that's making it a great market for a seller right now.
It's good for everybody right now overall. So you're listening to the Stockwell Roueche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
I'm Josh Roueche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
If you're just joining us, topic today is timeshares and co-ops, how to buy and sell them properly. What are they and how to buy and sell them properly? We're going to introduce Lisa Swanson with Envoy Mortgage, one of our wonderful partners here, talking about the market update and also about financing potentially on a co-op. I'm curious to hear how that is because it's different than a townhome, condo, and single family for sure. So Lisa Swanson, how you doing? Welcome.
I'm great, thank you. Well, I just wanted to share with you Wednesday, actually, interest rates took they were the lowest that they've been in 2015 so far. So we had a really great day of activity yesterday. A lot of locks for clients with whether they're refinancing or floating while they're buying a new home. The Fed also is showing signs that they will not raise policy rates until later in the year. So that hopefully will give us a nice influx in activity and locks as well. Positive bond market reaction helps keep those interest rates low. And oil prices is on the decline again. And the decline in oil prices combats inflation, which is also very good for interest rates. So that's really nice, I would say, in the next 3 to 4 month period here.
Decline in oil prices is good for a lot of people with the gas prices and many other things. It's not good for oil workers, which is a large segment of or a good chunk of workers that are doing that up in the Balkan and up in North Dakota. So it's tough for them and the oil workers. But for all of us that aren't oil workers and we're driving around, it's good for us for gas prices, and it looks like it's good for hedging inflation. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Good.
And then keeping interest rates low as well. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So for as far as co-op, maybe we should get the definition first. So let's get Casey Thrash. She's just chomping at the bit over here to share her wealth of knowledge on what exactly is a co-op. Let's get the definition here, Casey.
So the definition of cooperative housing, to give you more of a full term rather than just calling it a co-op, cooperative housing is an alternative form of ownership of homes and property, in which the property is owned by an organization and then sold as shares to the residents of the community. Cooperative housing splits costs on shared housing amenities and is frequently used as a part of intentional community initiative. So you're basically, when you're buying into a co-op or a cooperative, you aren't buying into a unit like you would in a condo building or an association like that. You are buying into the whole of the building, and all the money that is going towards that is going towards the amenities that are in the building, whether it's community rooms or a pool or exercise facilities. But then it also covers the interior of your unit, which they maintain as well, which is different than a condo or a townhouse where usually the association covers the outside,
Yes.
exterior,
Yep.
and you are solely responsible for anything that happens to the interior of your unit.
So a co-op actually takes care of the interior. So you're buying shares into the co-op, the cooperative.
Yep.
And you can buy. I wonder if it's like you buy X number of shares, or if it's a larger pool of shares. If you have a larger unit, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, well, we had a sale that we did last year in 2014, and learning all about this and everything. Depending on the size of the unit, that's dependent on how much you have to buy in, and
Got
each
it.
one is priced accordingly.
I remember that one. That one was actually located in Roseville, and it was a wonderful building with tons of events and food and activities, and it's 55 and up, so it's catered to the not elderly, but the senior community, and it was wonderful. It sold fairly quickly, and the unit was very well kept, in the association and the co-op actually came in and re-put in all new paint, new carpet, and everything on that particular unit, and then sold it. Or we sold it actually. It was a learning experience on a co-op on that, and then I had another house in Edina where they bought a co-op in Eden Prairie, and learned about them as well. So and again, we're not anti-co-op or pro-co-op. It's right for certain people as long as you know and are educated on what you're getting into.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks, Casey, for the definition of a co-op where you're buying the shares. So in a townhome and condo, you're owning the actual real estate. On a townhome, you're owning the real estate. On a condo, you're owning the actual space, airspace, if you will. And on a co-op, you're simply owning shares into it. But you do, of course, have a unit to live in. So, Lisa, how do you finance that? Is that financeable, or is that only cash people can?
It is financeable, but it's tricky. There's very few lenders that will actually finance co-ops. It's really, really common in a lot of your metropolitan areas, like New York City, for instance. In Minnesota, it's probably less common. I haven't seen one in Minnesota in, years.
A loan come through on a co-op. There are a number of co-ops, but a lot in Minnesota, I think.
A lot of them
majority of them are
actually
55 and up.
finance it themselves too. They have companies inside of it that do the finance.
Very good point. Very good point. I do know that the majority of folks purchasing, if they're not purchasing putting 20% down, usually if a single family home or a condo, we have a private mortgage insurance company that will help that. The co-ops, private mortgage insurance companies will not finance co-ops, so it's always a requirement of minimum of 20% down.
So you got to have some money into the game. So we'll be back with more. You're listening to the Stockwell Roueche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
I'm Josh Roueche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Timeshares and co-ops. We'll be back. Thanks for listening.
Maybe I'll be there to shake your hand. Maybe I'll be there to share the land that they begin.
Perfect song for our topic today. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roueche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
You're listening to the Stockwell Roueche Show every Sunday at 10 a.m. here on AM 1280 The Patriot. And you can find us at TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com if you want to go to the website there and see the videos and the YouTubes that we have and see what all of us look like. You can go on Facebook, the Stockwell Roueche Show. And you can call if you have any questions. Call, text 651-400-0773, 651-400-0773. And timeshares and co-ops. We went over the definition of a co-op. And Casey, if you could do a quick definition of, or maybe there's multiple definitions of a timeshare.
Well, there's a few different types of timeshares, and hopefully Judy can correct me if I am wrong.
You're never wrong.
Never, ever. The definition of a timeshare that I have is that it is a property with a particular form of ownership or use rights. These properties are typically resort condominium units in which multiple parties hold rights to use the property, and each sharer is allotted a period of time, typically about a week, once a year, in which they may use the property. And then I also there are 4 different types of timeshares that you can buy into. There's a fixed week timeshare, a floating timeshare, a right to use timeshare, and points clubs.
Okay.
And maybe
cool.
Judy can
So,
elaborate on
without
what's
further
up.
ado, we want to introduce our expert special guest to the show, Judy Kozlowski with Remax Property Southwest in the timeshare division. Judy, welcome. Are you on the line?
I'm on the line. Thank you.
So,
Hi,
did I
Judy.
pronounce everything right? First off, Judy, is that a correct pronunciation? I'm horrible with pronunciation of last names.
The pronunciation was great.
Okay, thank you. So, Judy, welcome to the show, and thanks for your time and expertise on this topic. I did some research on your website and found that you are truly a timeshare expert. I've researched here. It says that you've 20 years of timeshare experience, and you're the #1 Remax timeshare sales agent in the world as far as
Wow.
timeshare sales. That's phenomenal.
Yep.
So very honored to have you here. And you're in Orlando, Florida, which is the timeshare capital of the world. And there's a lot of people that maybe just got back here in the Minneapolis area that from Florida, from their spring break. We had a lot of people down there for that. I saw on Facebook and friends and such. But so, Judy, what else do you want to talk about as far as yourself, or do an introduction of yourself as far as the things that you do down there with timeshares?
Well, I basically handle just the resale of timeshare. I do focus on the larger developers, but we do handle all types of timeshare. Part of my job, though, is consumer advocacy. So about 50% of my time is spent working with the local law enforcement and other agencies to help people who are scammed in the timeshare field.
So I did not know
Wow.
that. So 50%, you spend a lot of time helping people that were scammed and were taken advantage of in the timeshare field.
Correct.
That's amazing. So maybe we should get into that right away.
Well,
as far as-
I want to know Judy's story. Kind of like, how did you
Oh, yeah,
decide?
how did you get into it? Good
into
call.
the timeshare? I mean, what caused you to get into that?
I've been in real estate 45 years, since 1968, and I've been with Remax actually 30 years. I was going to semi-retire,
Okay.
so I thought I would look for something different to do than selling houses, because I had sold houses since I was 21.
Okay.
Wow.
So you needed to
And-
mix it up.
The timeshare industry was here, and we actually owned a timeshare. We started to sell it, and we were scammed.
Oh wow.
Oh, you personally were scammed, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
So, and that was about 23 years ago. Well, it took me 2 or 3 years to get into it, but I started working, and I started working with the developers, and started working with Florida Association of Realtors, going to places I knew that could help people, and I got into the consumer advocacy part of it.
Wow,
and
that's very- So
it's been wonderful.
it sounds wonderful. It sounds like you're helping people. You're not just out there selling. A lot of us have been. Maybe you out there listening, or you or a family member has been to a timeshare presentation. They're very good. They're very articulate and very good salespeople. When you go now, the question I have for you, Judy, right out of the gate is: when scammed, that's a very strong word. When you say scam, that just and that's kind of a lot of the perception of some timeshare companies, or maybe timeshares in general. And so we want to just hear, how did you get scammed, I guess,
That'd be great,
way back
yeah.
when you said you were scammed when you bought your timeshare.
Okay, we were charged an upfront fee to sell our timeshare, and we were lied to about the value of it. Basically, when you buy a timeshare from a developer, when you walk out the door, you lose 50 to 70% of your money, because that money has been spent for marketing to you.
Wow.
The scammers will call you, and they will tell you that the value of the timeshare is more than you paid for it. Let me just go into a list of the timeshare scams that people should watch out
Yes,
for.
Okay.
this is very educational, so listen closely out there, everybody.
Okay, the first thing, if a person calls you concerning your timeshare, hang up. It's a scam.
Concerning the timeshare.
Correct.
Wow.
Licensed
Okay.
real estate timeshare brokers do not make outgoing phone calls.
Okay.
Interesting.
So if someone calls you and tells you, we are having a lunch and learn to help you sell your timeshare,
That's a scam.
be prepared to lose $4,000 to $6,000.
Really?
We are having a lunch and learn to get you out of your maintenance fees. Same deal. Okay, they will require you to pay money and convince you that your timeshare is worth nothing, and that your grandchildren are going to pay the maintenance fees. Okay, I also do stings, so I've been to all of these presentations. I've been to these presentations with the Attorney General's office, with the Orlando Police Department, with the Florida Department of Real Estate, and it's all the same. These people are making millions of dollars scamming people.
So give me a scenario. Let's say I get a call and they say I own a timeshare and I'm actually not using it. And I'm like, I would like to sell this. Someone calls me, invites me to something to help sell my timeshare. I go to the lunch and learn. What happens then?
Well, number one, I know the resort that you own because I've invited you to this lunch. And on the screen, you will see a picture of eBay with your particular resort on there with 30 minutes left, and it's advertised for $1, and there are no bids. So that's how I explain that the value of your timeshare is zero. What they forget to tell you is that they own that timeshare, that they've scammed someone else out of money to take the timeshare. And basically what they do is they scam you out of the money, and then they do put it on eBay and sell it for $1. They've made their money. They don't care. These people are called postcard companies.
So basically, I go into this, I get called, I go to the lunch and learn. They talk me into saying, you know what, your timeshare isn't worth anything. I say, okay, I sign it over to them. It's deeded, so I sign that over to them and then pay them thousands of dollars, right, to sell it for me, essentially. And then they go and just sell it for nothing because they've already got something that they got paid to take on something that they can sell for $1 now, correct?
Exactly. And their stories will be that they work with corporations that will use these timeshares for rentals.
So they're making up stories to try to tell you why they're doing that and offering it, right? Huh.
They don't tell you they're going to put it on eBay. But the problem is you will have the closing at the Lunch and Learn, and you will sign a POA, a power of attorney, for them to handle everything concerning your timeshare after that.
Okay.
The biggest problem is they don't always transfer the timeshare.
Oh, I bet.
They don't.
I bet they don't.
Huh. Tricky.
And they'll try to sell it. If they can't, then next year you may get a maintenance bill.
Oh no, that's why you're involved in a lot of these stings and a lot of these consumer advocacy, because people are getting taken advantage of a lot. It sounds like in this arena.
Exactly, and the second thing they do is they will take title to the to the timeshare. They will put it in a homeless person's name, put it in a company name.
Wow.
They never pay the maintenance bills, so then the resort suffers.
Huh. So that is so. With all of that information, I want to just make sure everybody out there, you're listening out there, if you have a timeshare, you know someone who wants to sell one, get rid of one, talk to an honest person that will give you the straight information and advice. And I would encourage you to reach out to Judy or go to her website, judikoz.com, judikoz.com, or we can reach Judy. And then, Judy, is it okay to give the office number or cell phone?
The office number is fine.
Okay, so the toll-free office number I have for Judy here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Judy, is 1-800-541-5666. 1-800-541-5666, extension 622, or ask for Judy Kozlowski if you get someone live. Definitely, so you're okay if people call and say, hey, I have questions, I want to sell mine, and how do I do it properly, right, Judy?
I am, but there are two other websites they can go to. One is the Licensed Real Estate Timeshare Brokers Association. That's ltrba.com. And they can also go to arda.org. That group is like the Association of Realtors to normal people.
Okay. So we got ltrba.com. and arda.org. So we've talked a lot about about selling and the scams and stuff when you go to sell. And when you buy a timeshare, just know that when you buy it from a resort, like Judy said, you're down 50% or more, right, Judy?
Correct.
So we have about 45 seconds left in this segment. We'll have you back for the next segment if that's okay with you. because I want to talk about buying them, because
Right.
we've talked about a lot of bad things. So when I'm listening to the segment, I'm like, I don't want to buy a timeshare, but thousands and millions of people own timeshares, and you sell a lot of them, Judy, and people are buying them. So we want to talk about how to do that properly when we get back. So you're listening to the Stockwell Roueche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
I'm Josh Roueche, Remax Advantage Plus.
Thank you so much for listening. We're in house with Lisa Swanson with Envoy Mortgage, Casey Thrash, and our expert panelist, Judy Kozlowski, with timeshares and co-ops. We'll be back. Thanks for listening.
That's where you wanna go.
As usual, we have the best music and sound.
He's like our own DJ.
Thank you, Chris. We're back. You're listening to the Stockwell Roueche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh Roueche, Remax Advantage Plus.
Timeshares and co-ops, talking exclusively right now about timeshares. And we have our expert panelist, Judy Kozlowski. She's with the Timeshare Division of Remax Property Southwest out of Orlando, Florida, the timeshare capital of the world. She is the number one timeshare sales associate in the world with Remax worldwide. And she's got 45 years of experience, 30 years with Remax, and has been doing timeshares for the past 20 years. She was scammed in timeshare, her timeshare years back, and has now been helping and being an advocate for people that are being scammed, and it's still going on now, even with all the rules and regulations. You'd think that wouldn't be possible, but it still is going on. And on break, Josh had a great question for Judy. I wanted him to share that with us.
Well, I guess my question was, because I used to have a timeshare myself, and, when we started talking and I started listening to what you were talking about, Judy, I was like, well, I must have been pretty lucky with how I got rid of mine, because I actually just called the resort itself, which I believe it was Blue Green Vacations was the resort that I had my timeshare with, and they helped sell it for me. I guess my question was, on break is, these people that are calling, these people that have these timeshares that they're trying to sell, who are they? Where are they coming from? And how are they getting access to the people to call to sell their property?
You're talking about the scammers, correct? How are they getting access to the people?
The scammers will buy lists from people at the resort. They will look up your information in public records. There's a number of ways for them to get the list of people that own.
And as far as the scam companies that do this, you said they were a postcard company. That means that they're just fly-by-night, kind of not a real entity?
It's not like
The postcard company means they've sent you a postcard.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
To something.
So they're not established company. They don't have like a LLC or incorporated.
They're very established.
Okay, they are.
You're talking about the scam companies.
Yes.
Wow.
So So you said on break they have telemarketers. Can you share with a story on the telemarketer situation where they just?
Okay, we had a bust in Orlando, and there were 45 telemarketers. 30 of those telemarketers were from the Orlando County Jail. They were on a work release program.
Wow.
So that's the type people who are calling you to sell your timeshare.
And I've been to timeshare presentations, and I think it's a majority. I don't know how much. I know young people own timeshares, but it seems like timeshares are kind of tailored or catered to the 55 and up, more retirees. And it seems like these people are taking advantage of them and their ability or their desire to get rid of a timeshare and have the resources or money maybe to pay them to get rid of it, thousands of dollars. Is that the case, Judy?
It is the case, and I work very closely with the Federal Trade Commission, and we are using the elderly abuse laws. So we are stopping some of it. I shared an email with you this morning from a lady, and that was exactly how she got her money back from a company that's still in business.
Yeah,
she was scammed 7 times.
Holy
oh
cow.
my goodness! All this on attempting to sell her timeshare, right?
Trying to sell her timeshare, and we actually ended up getting having the resort deed it back to them. So she's rid of it.
So she was scammed here. It says 7 times. She lost about $25,000 in trying to sell it.
Timeshare.
That's not even counting the money she spent to buy the timeshare. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Wow, that's staggering. That is staggering. So for you out there listening, if again, we'll repeat the information here. Judy Kozlowski, you can reach her on her website, which is judikoz.com, judikoz.com, 1-800-541-5666, 1-800-541-5666, extension 622. Resource is ltrba.com, and ARDA, ARDA.org, ARDA.org. Next question.
Well, I think we should get into the positive stuff.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to get into. How do you
buy a timeshare?
How do you buy one then? If this is all good, can I go to? I heard you earlier say eBay, Judy, for $1. Can I go and buy a timeshare on eBay
you
for
want to buy a
$1?
scam timeshare?
Yeah, most of my buyers are not eBay or bidding type buyers because I deal pretty much with the Hilton program. But eBay is a place that you can purchase. You need to be very, very careful. The way you want to buy timeshare is, number one, buy resale. Number two, buy through a licensed real estate broker.
Okay, great.
If you're going to purchase a house, it doesn't cost you any more to buy the house through a broker than it does through a for sale by owner. The same thing applies to timeshare.
Really? Well, that's good to know.
It's exactly the same. So when you are purchasing, you want to look at your options and look at the different systems that fit you. Casey went over 4 different types of methods of transferring timeshare or ownership of timeshare, and you want to look at which method fits you. Some of the right to use have expiration dates, so people who do not want a timeshare to be in their will, that's a great one to purchase.
Oh, that's the right to
You want
use.
to
Okay.
buy where you're going to go to at least 3 out of 5 years.
That's a
If
great
you're
tip.
a family that doesn't want to spend money traveling, buy something in the area that you live in. We certainly have timeshares in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yep.
Huh.
If you're looking to exchange, buy in a popular season. So you don't want to buy week 2 in Wisconsin.
No.
You would want to buy the summertime.
Right.
That makes it
Unless you
That
like
makes a lot of sense, Judy.
snowshoeing and ice fishing and all that stuff.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
There are some
There are
weeks in Wisconsin during the springtime that are good. That's the winter time, and that is a good point, Casey.
So tips I just want to reiterate to you out there listening, if you are buying and considering buying, and we should actually just real quick, Judy, what's the reason someone would buy? I mean, it sounds like it's hard to sell, very difficult to sell them is what I'm gathering. So why would you want something that's very difficult to sell?
They aren't difficult to sell. I sell them every day. If they're bought right, they will sell.
So if you follow your tips, which is buy a resale, not a new, essentially, or a development, go to
retail, right.
So
Yep.
buy a resale, not retail, and then make sure you get good advice from your realtor who's an expert like you, Judy, that can tell you what weeks to buy and what type to buy. You will be able to resell that and essentially maybe break even or make a little money or not. I mean, you're not going to lose out, though, totally, right, is what you're saying?
Exactly. And there are benefits to timeshare other than just owning a week or points. For example, with the Hilton program, they have what is called the open season rate. So I don't use my points, but I will get their reduced property prices if I'm renting from them.
So you get discounts on just normal use or normal vacation or normal stay.
Right. For example, last weekend we were at Marco Island. For the weekend, we spent $120 a night for a 2-bedroom oceanfront condo.
Oh, my goodness. I was in Marco Island for my honeymoon.
Oh my goodness. Here we go.
That's where Katie, my wife and I, we went to, actually a RE/MAX conference was in Orlando, Florida, and we tagged a few extra days on to do our honeymoon. She loves that story, but and we went to Marco Island. Stunning, beautiful, crazy expensive. So that rate that you said that's a very good deal to have with your timeshare.
Right, and if you use the perks that come with timeshare, it makes it worth it.
Yep.
The other question I have, so the other reason to buy it, you have to be a traveler, right? You don't want to be someone who doesn't go anywhere for 3-4 years. Every year you pretty much have to go somewhere. Is that a correct
You
statement?
need to be a traveler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and like she said, you can even be a traveler that you're staying within your state.
Yeah,
Like if you want to go up
that's
to the North Shore and get a timeshare and get a cabin up on Superior, if you want to go up there in the summer or in the winter or whatever, that you know what I mean? Like you don't have to go far. You just have to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's good to know. And the other question, back to the resell or to selling them, Judy, I had a question. As Josh said, couldn't you just call like he did the actual development or the timeshare company and say, hey, will you sell mine? Is that, and you said that doesn't happen sometimes, or that's not the case sometimes?
It doesn't. In the case of like Hilton, Marriott, some of the larger brands, they are now helping you with the resale,
Right.
telling you who to call, who not to call.
Okay.
But it has taken us many, many years to get them to that point, to get their head out of the sand, because resale is here to stay.
Resale
But
is here to
it's
stay,
very-
and here's what my thought is: they probably don't want to have that out there too much in the public because the margins are so great when you go into the development to buy direct retail that they don't want to be pushing or advertising or marketing the resale ones, which are going to be a better deal. Is that correct?
That is correct. But what Hilton found is the program we worked up, their owners are happier.
Yes, and you keep your clients happier. That's a good call. Good call.
Exactly.
Great. That makes total sense. So we have another about 50 seconds left here in this segment, and I just wanted to reiterate who we're talking to here. Judy Kozlowski. She is a timeshare expert out of Orlando, Florida.
Very knowledgeable.
Very good information. I tell you what, when I go, I've been to timeshare seminars, and I almost bought, and because they're so good, they are so good, and it was $27,000, and I tell you, you need to consult with someone who's an expert like Judy or a realtor who does timeshares. Make sure you buy a resale if you're going to buy, and contact Judy if you want to sell for an honest opinion there. We'll have her information when we get back. Thanks for listening to the Stockwell Roueche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell.
Josh Roueche.
We'll be back with one more segment. Thank you.
'Cause I believe in. I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Won't you pack your bags? We'll leave tonight. I've got 2
Love it.
I just want to keep listening to that, so let's keep. No, it's good. Welcome back to the Stockwell Roueche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
I'm Josh Roueche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Timeshares and co-ops, we're talking about them and how to buy and sell them properly. Wealth of information, just tons of good information from Judy Kozlowski, our special guest. She's with the timeshare division of RE/MAX Property Southwest in Orlando, Florida. She is the #1 timeshare reseller in the world with RE/MAX. And Judy, you've provided wonderful information, and I hope people are getting a lot out of this. I know I'm learning a ton on this. Just to recap some of the tips, when you are buying, you want to buy a resale, you want to not retail, you want to buy a resale timeshare, you want to make sure you contact a realtor just like you would if you're buying any real estate. We'd always recommend that. And you want to make sure that you buy one in a location that you travel to 3 of 5 years, and then the timing and the type that you buy, you want to definitely talk to the realtor that you're working with about that. As far as selling it, contact the websites that we gave you, and those will be on our Facebook page on Stockwell Roueche Show. We'll have those websites up there. We'll have it on talktwincitiesrealestate.com. And, of course, you can call us direct, 651-400-0773, 651-400-0773. So questions, we feel the questions for you, Judy. Thanks so much again for being on, and I know it's probably awesome down there in Orlando right now.
Yeah, what's the weather down there, by the way?
I think it's about 83.
Oh, that sounds not bad. I'd probably be golfing if I was down there.
50 here today. That's not so bad.
We're okay. We're doing okay.
Yeah,
A little cloudy, but or a little cloudy this week. But question I had for you is, as far as you had some other things we want to ask you about, which is, can I donate my timeshare to charity? How do I transfer my timeshare to a family member? Basically, how would you, if you have a timeshare and you don't want to sell it, or you're not going to sell it, but you want to transfer it or donate it, or you determine you can't sell it, what do you do?
Well, the short answer to donating is yes, but donations are one of the things that the scam operators try to get you to do.
Oh.
And what they tell you is that you can deduct up to $5,000 on your taxes. And if you do that, I'll guarantee you that the IRS will be auditing you.
Huh.
Okay.
Ouch.
Charities have to be able to make a profit when they sell what they have. A timeshare is a liability.
Because of the month or the annual dues and whatnot.
Because of
fees,
the
right?
annual
Yeah,
fees,
that makes
exactly.
sense.
So, if you donate the timeshare, you need to put down the market value. If they're telling you it's worth $1, that's what you need to put on the on your IRS. Okay. But there are probably 10 donation companies in the country that take timeshares, and there are 10 scam companies, those 10 companies.
So they go
That
hand in
is
hand.
good information to know. So watch out if someone says you can donate it to a charity, because we hear about donating cars for and you write off the tax deduction and all those things. But the next question is: do you transfer it to? How do you transfer it to a family member? If you say, "Hey, you know what? I'm just not using this here. I'm going to give it to my cousin or my brother." Or
When you transfer it to a family member, you would want to call the resort first to get a transfer form from them. If the property is deeded, you'll need to have a deed prepared, and then you send the transfer form and the deed to the resort. Very simple. The resort will generally have a fee of $50 to $500 to transfer it.
and then that person will just own it. They'll be
That person becomes
or
a member.
transfer for nothing. The cost to buy them is nothing, but the transfer fee is paid by one of the parties. Correct.
Exactly.
So this is what we learned on break, folks. If you're listening out there about timeshares, is that if anybody is in Florida, and I don't know how it is around the rest of the country, but in Florida, Judy's informed us that it is illegal or not legal to charge an upfront fee to sell your timeshare. It's just like any normal real estate transaction where you have a realtor or someone involved who's selling the property or the timeshare. They sell it. There's a closing, and the payment or commission or whatever his payment is going to be received at closing. Is that correct, Judy?
That is correct.
So be cautious. That would be one other big tip for you if you are trying to sell or do want to sell your property. Do not, if someone is charging an upfront fee, it's just like there's a whole mortgage scam that went on with the whole, what do they call it? Just not refinancing, but modification.
Yes.
The whole modification scam. There was tons of scammers. There were some good ones, but there's tons of scammers leeching onto this. So just watch out for that. If they're trying to charge you an upfront fee, just be cautious on that. So
Wish I would have talked to you about 6 years ago, Judy. 'Cause I know I paid an upfront fee when I got rid of mine.
And Jason and Josh, can I add something real quick?
yes, of course, Lisa.
The one thing about a timeshare, as you're mentioning, it really is you can use a real estate broker. The payments to the loan, they're just like a regular single family property.
Yep.
So if one were frustrated with the sale process or couldn't get rid of their, and decided to let it go and stop making payments, that could affect future payments or future financing for a single family residence.
Yeah, have you ever
refinance.
done a
It's-
mortgage
it's-
for
it's on
someone
the credit
where-
report. Goes on the credit report,
Yeah.
just like anything else.
Yep.
You ever done that where someone you've seen a mortgage or a credit report and they're trying to do a loan and there's a
Timeshare.
Absolutely.
what does it look like? Does
Absolutely.
it look like
it
a
looks just.
foreclosure or what is it?
Yeah, it really does. It's odd because oftentimes you don't notice it. It's so small.
It
It's
comes,
like
up, it comes up as a mortgage, as a lien on a mortgage.
yeah, it's like a $15,000, $20,000 thing, and you see maybe it was 6 years ago with some late payments. Their credit score might be good, but at the part of the financing piece is we do look at those extra layers, making sure that the foreclosure timeline. So it can actually impact financing or future financing if you did let a timeshare
And it
go.
goes on your real estate owned too as
because
well.
it's real, you're owning
Yep.
property, so that's a
Yep.
big deal. So Judy, is that something you advocate for? You've seen as people get damaged by just saying, "Hey, you know what? Heck with it. I'm going to get them back. I'm just not going to pay my yearly maintenance fee."
Right, that's for the sellers, but we tell people to, when you buy a timeshare, you need to be able to afford to pay cash for it because it's
Great
a
advice.
luxury. It should never be financed.
Right.
It should never be financed. I agree with that 100%. The timeshare presentation that I happened to be at recently, or a few months ago, they pulled out paperwork, and I
finance it, right.
was absolutely astounded that they were financing these at 16.9%
Yep.
interest.
Yep.
That is highway robbery from, in my opinion, when you're owning and it's for property. You can get a mortgage on a house for 4%. Why would you be charging 17% when you are putting money down on this timeshare? I don't know, Judy, am I out of line on that statement?
No, absolutely not. Again, if you're buying timeshare resale or retail, if you can't afford to pay cash, don't buy it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great
Good
advice.
point.
So another
Good
great,
point.
wonderful tip from Judy. So
I sold about $3 million worth of timeshare last year, and I had no financing, zero.
yep, that's the way to do it. I agree 100%. So that's a lot of timeshare.
Yeah, that was a lot of timeshare.
That is a lot of
I
timeshare.
sell some weeks for 90, 100,000, 250. So I do sell some higher end
Okay.
too.
Oh, really? Those must be nice
Yeah,
ones
in
to get.
Hawaii and New York.
Oh, those
there you
hot
go.
spots.
Yep.
So all in all, to summarize, timeshares are not for everybody, but they are valuable for some people. Make sure you're buying them properly. Listen to the tips that Judy talked about. And when you're trying to resell, just make sure you do that properly as well. Our goal here in the show is to educate you with good information that can be valuable for you, your loved ones, and anybody you know and care about. So thanks so much, Judy.
Judy, it was a pleasure. I learned a lot today. Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Jason.
Judy Kozlowski, JUDIKOZ.com. And find her information on our Facebook and on our YouTube as well. So thanks, Judy. We'll I will definitely stay in touch with you over the real estate career here, and definitely when we go on vacation in Florida, I will be reaching out to you.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Folks, we have a great shows coming up next in the coming weeks. We have an investment show with an investment seminar. We have upcoming topics here, or upcoming seminars for you that I wanted to make sure we talk about. March 30th, 7 p.m. is the Turn Your Rent Payment into a Mortgage Payment seminar. So please contact us or go to our Facebook or website for that information. Real Estate Pros for a Cause. There'll be 10 of us agents serving. We will be your servants. We will be your bartenders. That is
Jason's going to be in a bid.
Yeah, April 16th at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Cambria Gallery. You can go to bridesagainstbreastcancer.org.
You're not wearing your Speedo, are you?
Actually, I think it's one of those French-made deals we're wearing. Me and Ryan O'Neill are going to be doing that.
Somebody want my tickets?
Me and Ryan O'Neill. Lastly, Minnesota Remodeling Expo. We're excited about this. We're having a booth at the Minneapolis Remodeling Expo, April 10th, 11th, and 12th. HomeShowCenter.com. We have free tickets. Call us, 651-400-0773. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roueche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Love yourself and love others.